One of the great things about movies is that not
So the critical drinker is kind of going off right now. He's kind of going off. Okay, 1.41 million subscribers. Let's take a look at the last couple of videos he's made. Enough with the remakes. Why modern movies suck. They hate their own fans. The drinker fixes the multiverse of madness. She-Hulk. RRR. I have not seen this movie, which is apt because he titled it the best movie you've never seen. Haven't seen Moonfall, She-Hulk, A Lesson in Terrible Writing. She-Hulk, it's a comedy. So I don't know if this is his usual brand of movie making or if he's or like a video making, but or if he's evolved throughout the years. But the first video I saw of his was on oh shoot, what's that movie called? Starship. Oh, I was analyzing the satire of Starship Troopers, and I've heard that Starship Troopers was like a good satirical take on classic sci-fi movies before, so I wanted to like actually get an analysis of it, and I thought he did a pretty good job analyzing it. Then I see this video that really popped off, 3.7 million views. She-Hulk: A Lesson in Terrible Writing, and I'd seen like trailers for She-Hulk. It did not look great in my opinion. So I was kind of just like going into this She-Hulk experience or whatever, assuming that it was bad. So it was interesting to see what people thought. And his analysis was okay. He kind of, in my opinion, he kind of went overboard in like the whole girl boss aspect of it. Like, there can just be bad writing without attributing it to an agenda that the writers or the movie producers or the studio is trying to push. But like, if I don't know, he didn't get too deep into it. Then I've been watching The Rings of Power, and I see this video. I'm like, oh, is he going to be criticizing The Rings of Power? Because I've seen the first 3 episodes of it. I was not a fan of the first 3 episodes. I have to say, like, I appreciated their set design. I appreciated their the soundtrack, the characters, the character design. But I thought the pacing, the story, the character development, and just like the writing of the characters was kind of lackluster and didn't really get me interested in it at all. But I see his video that he put out, and it has two out of the like it has 3 Rings of Power characters on it, so I'm really interested to watch it. 14 minutes long. I watched it, and I think the last 2 minutes were actually about the Rings of Power, and the rest of the 14-minute long video was just a rant about modern movies. And I have to say, this analysis was not as good of a movie critique as I thought it would be. It's more of just like your classic angry rant you'd see on Reddit or Twitter. So, with that being said, let's actually get into it. And let's see what he has to say.
generally I consider Twitter to be nothing.
Because I don't want to just be talking over him. I want to let his own words speak for himself. All right, so let's go. Let's go. First clip from Jurassic Park. Not really Rings of Power, but it's okay.
Generally I consider Twitter to be nothing more than a festering cesspool of hatred, envy, virtue signaling, and pointless life-sucking arguments between people that never have and probably never will meet each other in the real worlds. But every so often,
This guy really loves his run-on sentences. Yeah, this video could probably be like could probably be cut in half if he was a little bit more concise.
you stumble across little grains of truth and pearls of wisdom, one of which happened this morning while I was taking a shit in my neighbour's garden. Wait, what? Anyway,
Wait, what? Okay, so He starts off this video by saying he's on Twitter this morning while taking a shit, and he stumbled across a grain of truth, which kind of is a foreboding sign when you're going to make a 15-minute long video ranting about, well, I mean, we know a lot of the criticism that the show has gotten, so we'll see if he can stay away from the classic, oh, the elves aren't fair enough of skin. Let's see if he can actually stay away from that.
This one took the form of a lengthy Twitter thread describing a growing trend amongst major movie studios of intentionally provoking and antagonising fan bases in order to gain attention and deflect criticism from what they've made.
Okay. So we've got our first little nugget of truth in his words that we need to write down. So since I did watch this video already, so I wrote down the first couple of points he says. So he said that it's talking about a growing trend among movie studios intentionally provoking and antagonizing their fan bases. Let's continue.
Practice known as fan baiting. The OP described it thusly.
Here, let's rewind it.
Garden. Wait, what? Anyway,
Wait, what?
This one took the form of a lengthy Twitter thread describing a growing trend amongst major movie studios of intentionally provoking and antagonising fan bases in order to gain attention and deflect criticism from what they've made. A practice.
They do this in order to gain attention and deflect criticism from what they've made. A process known as fan baiting. So this is his thesis. This is what he started the video off with. So this is a growing trend among movie studios intentionally provoking and antagonizing their fan bases in order to gain attention and deflect criticism from what they've made. So, if you're making a movie, it's probably not the best idea to try to get people to watch the movie just by provoking them into watching it. That's what like right-wing reactionaries do, like Matt Walsh and his What is a Woman documentary. He's provoking people into talking about it. But that's because he's backed by just powerful corporate donors, and he doesn't actually care how well his movie does in the box office. He's not actually making a movie to try to sell it in theaters or get good reviews on it. He's just making a piece of propaganda. And in that case, getting as many people talking about it on the internet as possible is a benefit for you. But there's a huge difference between movie studios getting people to talk about their movies and actually getting them to spend money to go on to streaming services and watch them, or go out into the theaters, which is, I still think, is the best hallmark of how well a movie does in its promotion and just word of mouth, like quality. But he's saying he's saying that they're baiting their fans into watching it, which I don't think like any movie studio would really acknowledge as a good sustainable practice. But we'll see how he actually backs this up. But I mean, if he doesn't back this up, you can just use Hitchens' razor, where if someone makes a claim without supporting it at all, you can just completely dismiss it without actually having to support your dismissal. But there are still almost 14 minutes left of this video, so I'm sure he's going to be supporting this.
It's known as fan baiting. The OP described it thusly. Fan baiting is a form of marketing used by producers, film studios, and actors with the intent of exciting artificial controversy, garnering publicity, and explaining away the negative reviews of a new and often highly anticipated product. It's something a lot of us in the world.
So let's just take a look at this tweet. Now, full disclosure, I'm not like I appreciate good movies. I'm not a part of like the movie culture of like watching all of the interviews of actors talking about their new movies, watching all the trailers, watching the breakdowns of the trailers, going to the theaters to watch the movies myself. I guess I would say like I'm a satellite movie buff, or if a movie does catch my interest, then I will like make it a point to watch it. Like Avatar is probably the first movie I've actually wanted to watch in like a few years. Avatar 2. But so that being said, I think that a lot of this stuff, like, you don't actually need to be involved in the movie world to talk about, and I really feel like none of this is stemmed from a basis in the movie world. So let's just see what they say here in this tweet. Fan baiting is a form of marketing used by producers, film studios, and actors with the intent of exciting artificial controversy. Oh, all right. I'll just read the entire tweet. Garnering publicity and explaining away the negative reviews of a new and often highly anticipated production. 1 out of 10. Okay, so a few things here. Fan baiting. We have not gotten an example of fan baiting so far, so it's a bit hard to like pin down this definition on like a tangible example. So he could just be calling fan baiting anything. Like they could say that, oh, an actor, like I heard there's like a story of an actor just like pissing in the woods, and that got a lot of attention. Is that fan baiting? Is the story of how bad of production, or like the production hell that Apocalypse Now experienced, is that fan baiting? You're doing marketing, like the movie Making Apocalypse, the documentary of Making Apocalypse Now was marketing, used by producers, film studios, actors, and they were doing the marketing with the intent of making controversy. Like, you could say that a lot of controversial stuff happened in the filming of the documentary Apocalypse Now, garnering publicity. It's like, okay, literally everything that these film studios, producers, and actors do are trying to garner publicity and explaining away the negative reviews of a new and often highly anticipated production. If the critical drinker is going to be supporting this, I would really love to see examples of how they explain away negative reviews of a new production. Also, is this tweet just self-contradicting? Because they say that they're trying to create controversy to gain publicity, but then the production's already highly anticipated. So why are they trying to... I don't know. This is all very tenuous. Like, it's just someone like listing a group of things that they're claiming film studios do. I would love to see examples that actually fit this narrative that this person's writing. And we probably will. So let's just continue playing it.
Reviews of a new and often highly anticipated product. It's something a lot of us in the world of film criticism have suspected for some time now, and it neatly explains a lot of the seemingly baffling decisions that drive modern movie production. Ever wondered why studios, directors, and actors make such a point of hyping up the diversity of the film's cast rather...
Does he whine movies are too woke? No, dude, it's the opposite. Didn't you just hear what he said? Let's rewind this shit. Also, like... Dude. Okay, I was coming into this video actually wanting to experience his critique of the Rings of Power, because I thought there were a lot of problems with it, while still having some aspects of the show that like actually kind of blew me away. I thought that the sets were awesome. I thought the character design was really good. Like, to be honest, the backgrounds in the sets looked a little cheesy. It was too CGI-like. And then the pacing of the story sucked. But so let's listen to this. Is like so telling. The first thing he says is, "Have you ever wondered why the actors spend so much time hyping up the diversity of the cast rather than the characters themselves?" It's like, no, I don't spend all of my time harping on every single time a character talks about the diversity of the cast. And I actually don't think that they do talk about the diversity of the cast. Also, when have actors ever actually talked about how in-depth their characters are? They're not going to ever insult their characters and say, oh, it was a poorly written character, I was just working with what I got. No, they're going to talk about usually their experiences, because actors aren't like usually film critics. Some of them are, and those are the ones that rise above everyone else and elevate their game of acting. I don't care for the TV show. They just want to make the next Game of Thrones. Such a bankrupt attempt at using Tolkien's property. Yeah, exactly. Actors are there to promote their work. I mean, I totally agree. I don't think that Lord of the Rings needed a reboot. I thought that it is pretty... I honestly thought The Hobbit sucked. And they probably should have just stopped after the first trilogy. Anyway, let's continue.
Of a new and often highly anticipated products. It's something a lot of us in the world of film criticism have suspected for some time now, and it neatly explains a lot of the seemingly baffling decisions that drive modern movie production.
Also, anytime you're looking for like a neat explanation, usually you're just conspiracy brained. I mean, it's kind of like oh dude, don't worry, I just saw that today he put out a video on the Little Mermaid, so this is going to be great. I'm watching that next.
Ever wondered why studios, directors, and actors make such a point of hyping up the diversity of the film's cast rather than the film itself?
Bro! What the fuck? Have you ever wondered why studios, directors, and actors have made such a point to hype up the diversity of the film's cast rather than the film itself? No, I've never wondered that. Because when someone comments that, oh, we have a black actor and this is kind of a big step, they're in a big role, that doesn't trigger me. Oh my god. He's The Quartering. I have not watched The Quartering and I don't want to. Like, this is the third video I've watched from The Critical Drinker. And goddamn, it's just gotten worse every single time I've watched one of his videos. So, I think he's going off the deep end.
Ever wondered why it's become common practice to race and gender swap popular legacy characters rather than create interesting new ones that are purpose-built?
Oh my god, okay. I'm going to the notepad because this is going to be a very detailed breakdown. Why is it common practice to race and gender swap characters rather than come up with interesting new characters that are purpose built? Okay, so why is it common practice to race and gender swap characters rather than come up with interesting new characters that are purpose built? This is not an either or. You can have race and gender swapped characters that are interesting and new. You could reimagine like Beauty and the Beast, Pride and Prejudice and zombies. It's like a perfect example. You just chuck zombies in there. Yeah, he's making a false dichotomy between interesting and new characters and race and gender swapped characters. You can have race and gender swapped characters that are boring and the exact same character, and you can have non-race and gender swapped characters that are boring and the exact same character. Disney literally whitewashed a whole European folklore. Dude, have you ever read actual Brothers Grimm fairy tales? That shit was brutal. And yeah, like they whitewashed it. They also just watered it down. And Disney is literally just remaking movies. Not even race and genders, not even like gender or race swapping them. And like they're extremely boring. The Quartering is one of those people that complained the new She-Ra, a 38-year-old neckbeards. What is the new She-Ra? 38-year-old neckbeard who whines about cartoon for 10-year-olds. What the hell? Alright, well, the Automod does not like you talking about what Tarzan likes killing. Jesus. All right, well, let's continue. Oh, wait, The Quartering was criticizing the new Netflix He-Man movie or TV show? Are you wow, that I mean, there's an audience for that. Look at how many subscribers this guy has. 1.41 million. All right, let's just continue.
Ever wondered why the release of any major production is almost always accompanied by a storm of shill media articles endlessly prattling on about how important the latest piece of generic corporate trash is for whatever social political cause happens to be popular right now, and dismissing any dissenting voices as toxic, hateful bigots? Well,
Okay, god damn, bro. He goes on for so long. Have you ever wondered why is the release of a movie always accompanied by shill media that prattle on about how important the latest piece of corporate trash is, about whatever social and political cause is happening right now, and dismissing any dissenting voices as toxic, hateful bigots? No, because A, I don't care about media shill articles when it comes to the new release of a movie, and the only reason why this guy would care is because he loves being outraged and is a racist piece of is just like a racist, or I'll just say reactionary piece of shit that loves to be outraged. And he goes out of his way to find these articles that will trigger him. Otherwise, why are you reading articles about this movie when you're a film critic? Just watch the movie and critique the movie on your own. You don't need to be plugged into the whole extended universe of all of like the movie production industry. I think he got gaslighted by right-wing media into conspiracy thinking each time they have people of color on screen. I don't know, man. It's really weird. It's like he has this mental he just has this mental hitch on wokeism, and he gets stuck in the minutia of the wokeism instead of actually just watching the movie. So, I mean, no. A, I don't care. I don't wonder about articles shilling for like the movie and talking about how the maybe some aspects of the movie are relevant to aspects of the politics today. And B, even if I did care, I understand why the media is doing that. They're trying to make the movie relevant to the audience. The audience is still living their lives. They're not just like stuck in time capsules that get released every time a new movie comes out. Culture changes. Movies try to reflect culture to try to get audiences to relate to the movies and want to watch the movies. Like, I'm not a film critic by any means. I appreciate a good film. I appreciate a good TV show. But this guy calls himself a film critic, and he's getting stuck in such meaningless minutia of the film world. Like, and it has nothing to do with the film itself. All right, we're less than 2 minutes into this 14-minute long video. We have to continue.
Wonder no longer, dear viewer, because basically it all comes down to fan baiting. And since it's all been brought...
Oh god, alright. This is all fan... Oh, this is so bad.
Brought into very sharp focus by the controversy swirling around Rings of Power over the past few months, I figured this might be an interesting topic for us.
Oh no! No! Yeah, exactly. Big movies want to pander to the widest demographic possible. Okay, so he's saying that all of these things got brought into focus by the Rings of Power. This is... Oh, I am very hesitant to see where this is going. And the only thing that he's actually said, that he's actually like... Yeah, he's just talked about social and political causes happening right now. I wonder what social and political cause he's referring to. Maybe it's a 3-letter acronym starting with B and ending with M with an L in the middle. And then he's also just talked about the diversity of the cast. All right, this is going to be rough. Okay, let's go.
to explore together. So strap in, because the drinker's taking you on another installment of Why Modern Movies Suck.
No, he calls himself the drinker. Also, yeah, I realized that this is a I realized that this is like a series that he has called Why Modern Movies Suck. So yeah, this is gonna be Here, this is the next video that I gotta watch. Enough with the remakes. Here, where is it? Yeah, this one. Ariel. All right, we gotta continue this though. No, I know. It's such a boomeristic. It's just such a boomer mentality. Back in my day, movies didn't worry about pandering to the woke mob. No, it's just that movies cared about pandering to white people because that's the only audience that they actually cared about. And now that they're actually like trying to involve other minorities, now that they're actually trying to involve minority groups, he gets his panties in a bunch about it. Yeah, the superhero fad never ends. I mean, it does get really redundant after a long time, but yeah, like I'm not really into. I haven't really seen any movies that I've been interested in watching for a long time, or that have been released recently. I think the last one that I wanted to see was Parasite, and I still haven't seen that one actually. But this November, I'm pretty sure Avatar 2 is coming out, and I'm actually pretty hyped to see that one. Yeah, the best case he has, it's empty corporate pandering. But yeah, we'll just keep going.
It all began in the year of our Lord 2016 with the release of the rebooted Ghostbusters movie. Now you don't need me.
Wait, what? Fan baiting began in 2016 with the rebooted Ghostbusters movie? No, this is... Really? Yeah, I know. What evidence does he have of this other than this is a movie that he doesn't like? Here, let's take a look. Movie reboots. Let's take a look at some of these reboots. Here, best movie reboots. So these are going to be like examples that he should definitely enjoy. Scream, okay. To be fair, these are after 2016. These are after Ghostbusters. Batman Begins. So, after the George Clooney Batman, then they got the Christopher Nolan Batman. Okay, reboot. Toy Story 3. Wait, that was a reboot? That's considered a reboot? Okay. Mad Max Fury Road. They rebooted the series with, honestly, one of the most badass characters being a woman. Let's go. Tomb Raider. Oh, another reboot with a woman there. Okay, I didn't see the first Candyman. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Reboot series. With CGI. And a white guy. Spider-Man. How many times has Spider-Man been rebooted? Oh, okay, yeah, Godzilla. They rebooted the Godzilla universe. Star Trek. This was honestly probably like the most... I actually liked some of these Star Trek movies that were rebooted. Star Wars. I'm sure he's going to bring that up. But actually, Star Wars was before the female Ghostbusters. Star Trek was divisive because it missed the point of Star Trek. Yeah, I mean, I appreciated the early Star Trek TV series with Kirk, but I never got super into it. James Bond reboot with Daniel Craig. Is Daniel Craig even British? You know what? He probably is. Daniel Craig. Yeah. Okay, he's English. I thought he was Scottish. Oh no, that's Sean Connery. Anyway, let's see if he can point to a specific reason why he's saying that this began in 2016. This is just like such lazy writing, dude. It's literally just a bad movie that happened to have like the main. It's just a bad remake of a beloved movie that happened to just get a group of female comedians starring in it. Yeah, you're right. It was like extremely military based, and I know Star Trek is like usually military is kind of a last resort for them. But I thought they had pretty good characters in some of in the Star Trek movies.
For us to explore together. So strap in, because the drinker's taking you on another installment of Why Modern Movies.
I'm not saying they're good SNL comedians. I'm just saying he's just picking this movie because they're women. Like, let's be honest.
It all began in the year of our Lord, 2016, with the release of the rebooted Ghostbusters movie. Now, you don't need me to tell you that this film was a failure in basically every aspect of its production, from the tedious and derivative plot to the unfunny jokes, hammy performances, and cringe-inducing dance scene.
Okay, but to be fair, the sets look pretty good, right? It's not a horrible movie in every sense of the production. Obviously, like, the writing probably stunk and the characters might not have been acted out super well, but I've never seen the movie, so I'm not going to defend it, but the sets look pretty good. Them being yeah, exactly. Them being women is the least problematic thing about the movie.
Paul Feig just wants to dance, you guys! But none of this seemed to matter at the time because, according to the news media, the only thing that anyone cared about was the gender of the four main characters.
No. Oh my god. So he's saying the news media is basically dismissing all criticism and just saying, hold on.
The news media, the only thing that anyone cared about was the gender of the four main...
I don't understand why he's... Okay, so he's saying the news media is making just a wild and bold claim that the only thing anyone cares about is the gender of the four main characters. Okay, so obviously, if every single news media said that, then they're lying. Okay, fair. If every single news media did not say that, then he's lying. And let's say that even if every single news media did say that, no one would believe them. No one would believe that that's true. Because people talk to each other. They don't put things out into the ether. They then gets picked up by the news media, put onto a website, and then other people have to read that off of the website to see what other fans or other critics have been saying about the movie. They don't, like, it doesn't work like that. So I don't know why he's pretending that the news media is just covering for this movie in such a weird, authoritarian way. Okay, but like classic, the media is the enemy of the people type thing here, except in a movie. Okay, in a movie situation.
Characters. They certainly didn't hate the movie because it was poorly written, horribly acted, and shoddily produced by a creative team that either lacked the motivation or the intellectual capacity to understand the source.
And like, let's just stop beating around the bush here. We know what he's actually complaining about. There are going to be people, whenever you see minorities being featured in a movie, in a TV show, even in just an interview, there are going to be people that complain that this is wokeism, this is like pushing minorities forward, this is white erasure. And then when we get complaints about, if we get racist or sexist complaints in comments or people making videos about it, the media is going to talk about that because obviously that's going to be getting more clicks than actual critiques of the movie. And it's just like more interesting, especially when the media might not actually just be movie critiquing media. It might just be like cultural media, and they're doing stories about cultural backlash that actors representing minorities might be experiencing. And then when he sees media discussing the backlash that these characters or that these actors are experiencing, he automatically assumes that this is just the media covering up for this is just the shill media covering up for the inadequacies of the movie. When in actuality, they're just highlighting actual hate that people are experiencing. And since he probably either subconsciously or consciously partakes in that hate, then he like willfully blinds himself to it and takes this with the worst possible of intentions. I genuinely believe he got gaslighted into a culture war, and he doesn't think his reasoning has any sexist or racial motives. Yeah, I don't think he thinks of himself as a racist person, but we'll see here that, like, I watched 14 minutes and 23 seconds of this video expecting a single criticism of the Rings of Power, and we'll see if we actually get it, okay?
Source material? Oh no, they just couldn't stand to see 4 women taking a man's place on the big screen. Don't question this any further, it's just pure sexism, take our word for it.
I mean, he's just making up a straw man right now. Like, this is what conservatives love to do. They love to take that picture of like the crying feminist woman wearing like the beanie and then like slap it onto any kind of thumbnail of their videos and they just love to like fight against the completely delusional culture warrior. Or social justice warrior, not culture warrior. He's a culture warrior. Okay, let's continue.
And somehow, through some combination of Lovecraftian manipulation and
Like, I don't want to harp on this point, but does he actually, like, I just think that you're right. He's gotten so involved in this cesspool of conservatism and reactionary, like, media feedback loop that he must, because he's making it sound like he actually believes there are people in the media that when they see criticism, like valid criticism, or of maybe, oh, well, this scene was poorly written because these character motivations don't make any sense. Like, someone comments that on a YouTube trailer, and then this, like, social justice warrior sees that comment, screen grabs it, throws it onto their article, types up, this person isn't actually criticizing the movie, they're just mad and threatened because there are 4 women in the main roles instead of 4 men. All criticism of this movie is invalid because they're just sexist. They're just sexist, hateful, like, bigots. Like, does he actually think that that's happening? It just seems so delusional to me. All right, let's just continue playing.
an absolute stupidity, the studio even managed to get the movie embroiled in the US presidential election.
You gotta be fucking...
Was this movie embroiled in the US presidential election? Hold on. I have to look this up. This is crazy shit. Alright, hold on. Ghostbusters 2016. Hillary Clinton. No. What pops up? Okay, I gotta click on this first article. Ghostbusters all-female reboot of victim of 2016's anti-Hillary movement, says director Paul Feig. Oh my god, he's not even wrong. It was involved in the 2016 election. He reflected on the vitriolic response to his women-led Ghostbusters reboot, claiming it was similar criticism faced by Hillary Clinton. Oh my god, let's go. I mean, Hillary Clinton also had legitimate problems with her campaign other than her just being a woman. Some really brilliant author or researcher or sociologist needs to write a book about 2016 and how intertwined with Hillary and the anti-Hillary movement. It was just this year where everyone went to a boiling point. I don't know if it was having an African-American president for 8 years that teed them up for something, but they were just ready to explode. By the time in 2014 or 15 when I announced I was going to make it, it started. It's crazy how people got nuts about women trying to be in power or trying to be in positions that they weren't normally in. Feig said it was an ugly, ugly year. So notice how he's not actually talking about any of the criticism of his movie and just talking about the fact that people reacted to the women being starred in it, which is a valid criticism, or it is a valid comparison to make, because if he's having 4 women take center role in his movie, and then he's noticing like a similar pushback against Clinton, he might, like, I think that is a valid criticism, but like here he is not actually taking criticism of his movie and dismissing it as just sexism. That's like the missing link between The Critical Drinker and what's actually happening in real life. Like, The Critical Drinker is completely just brushing off any actual sexism or racism that these movies are experiencing. And is basically just being willfully blind to them. All right, let's continue.
Kidding.
That's right, seeing Ghostbusters 2016 became an actual political act.
Sunglasses time! Where's my bottle? I mean, if he's referring to the article, or if he's referring to the interview of the director in no way ever came close to anything approximating that seeing Ghostbusters 2016 was a political act. All right, but let's continue.
Because if you
Cringy laughing ensues.
didn't support the female Ghostbusters, then clearly you didn't support the female
Hold on.
political act.
No!
Female Ghostbusters, then clearly you didn't support the female presidential candidate either, and
That is not what he was saying. But let's the director is just pointing, he's just noting a comparison between hatred towards females in a movie, like females in the leading role in a movie, and a female role or a female in the leading role of a political campaign. Am I left? I've got some water left. All right, let's continue this video.
could only mean you were voting for the Orange Man.
Ooh, critical drinker should stay out of politics because, I don't know, it's like literally just middle school shit.
Leslie Jones became another big focal point of the media war around this movie. It's no secret that her character Patty didn't exactly endear herself to fans. She was loud, annoying and obnoxious, and Jones's overbearing performance didn't...
Loud, annoying, and obnoxious. And she didn't exactly endear herself to fans. Lloyd Christmas. Loud, annoying, and obnoxious. Kind of endearing. Truman Burbank. To be honest, I've only seen clips of that. Grinch. Loud, annoying, and obnoxious. What about Robin Williams characters? The Genie in Aladdin. Loud, annoying, and obnoxious. Peter Pan, to be fair, he wasn't really loud, annoying, and obnoxious there. Sean Maguire, he was like pretty chill there. Popeye, Jesus. Mork, oh my god, talk about an annoying character. I don't think you could get a more annoying character than that. I actually haven't seen a lot of these. Anyway, dude, being loud, annoying, and obnoxious is not endearing to fans. He didn't actually say black, but we'll see.
She was loud, annoying and obnoxious, and Jones's overbearing performance didn't exactly help the situation.
guess what? Fans love overbearing performances. Have you ever seen a Nicolas Cage movie? It just depends on the actual movie itself. Give me an actual critique of the movie other than saying there was an annoying and obnoxious character and automatically they were bad, because that is just brain dead criticism.
Get out of my friend Ghost!
There were plenty of
Okay, that scene was bad. Do you want to know why it was bad?
Get out of my
First of all, stakes. Let's talk about the stakes. It's played off as a comedic thing. And yet, she's acting like her friend is about to die. Okay, so first of all, we don't really have a good meeting ground of the stakes, of the tone of the scene, and the in-movie universe stakes. Okay, those don't mix together. So already, you're taken out of your suspension of disbelief, and you're painfully aware you're watching a movie. The second thing is, the line wasn't delivered great. And then the third thing is, the line is a horrible line. Get out of my friend, Ghost? Come on, is that actually the best they can come up with? This is... Yeah, would you really say that if you're exorcising a ghost out of your friend, unless you were trying to make a joke? Again, the writing and the tone of the scene don't match the in-universe stakes, and that's why this is a bad scene. Not because... Also, how is she annoying and obnoxious in this scene? She's yelling. It's supposed to be an emotional, high-stakes scene, but again, is just constructed badly. And I'm not saying she's a great actor either, by the way.
There were plenty of legit reasons to criticize both the character and the actor, none of which had anything to do with the color of her skin, but...
Yeah, but I haven't heard you actually levy any legitimate criticisms at the character.
Naturally, the media chose to focus in on the small minority of racist assholes who did exactly that.
Oh,
Media
so
chose
he
to
is
paint her,
acknowledging there are
none of which
racist
had
people.
anything to do with the color of her skin. But naturally, the media chose to focus in on the small minority of racist assholes who did exactly that. So guess what the narrative became? Racist toxic fans harass black actress.
I mean, that's a narrative. I don't know how he's determining what the narrative is. Do you understand what I mean? It's every single fucking article about this movie posts something about the movie. It's not a narrative. You can pick and choose what you look at. Obviously, if you watch one person, that might spin you a certain narrative. If you watch one person closely entwined with another person, the narrative might be similar between the two. And you might synthesize your own narrative by watching them. But if you watch a ton of different things or read a ton of different articles, there are going to be a lot of different narratives. So again, yes, there is a narrative. Can you show me more than one article?
So guess what the narrative became? Racist toxic...
This article is more than 6 years old. And let's actually read what it says. Leslie Jones bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opened. Okay, I think that's just objectively true. The comedian found herself singled out for particularly egregious campaign of racially charged slurs, many of which she retweeted from her account. Nowhere, okay, I guess they're not actually deflecting movie criticisms here. But, does he really think that this article would be criticizing the movie if there weren't racist tweets? It's since there are racist tweets, the articles that would be criticizing the movie for good reasons are now actually just criticizing the movie, or are now actually just supporting the movie by talking about the racist fans. It's this is such a weird take from him. It's not either or. There can be things criticizing the movie. There can be things talking about the fans. I don't think this article would have existed if there weren't racist fans.
Fans harass black actress.
Also, that's...
Guess what the narrative became? Racist...
I mean, he's saying narrative, but he's showing a single article. He could have done a bit more research, but... I'll assume there were more than one articles.
Toxic fans harass black actress. Any legit criticisms of the character or her performance immediately went out the window, and the only thing people...
I mean, I'd like to see evidence of that if you don't have evidence of that, I'm just going to dismiss it without evidence.
People saw was that all-important, emotionally manipulative headline, conveniently forgetting the fact that
Bro. First of all,
small minority of
do we
racist
have to go back to the article that you just showed?
assholes who did exactly that. So guess what the narrative became? Racist
Leslie Jones bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opens. How is that an emotionally manipulative headline? What is going on? What is actually going on in his mind? Does he read a single article? Or is he just way too Twitter brained, where he sees people complaining about shit on Twitter, and then he just assumes that that's what's going on in the broader world in general? Okay, so Leslie Jones bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opens. This is the article he chose. He's saying this is an entire narrative. He can choose the most emotionally manipulative headline out there. And this is the one that he chooses? This is written with the least amount of emotion possible. This is like the minimum amount of words to get the objective meaning of the article across.
toxic fans harass black actress.
That's not what the article said. Okay, so he's saying that's what the narrative said. Okay, so he just toxic fans harass. Wait a second. Hold on. This calls for my note keeping. All right.
So guess what the narrative became? Racist toxic fans harass black actress.
Okay, so narrative became racist toxic fans harass black actress. Article title: Leslie Jones bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opens. Okay, so he's saying the narrative became racist toxic fans harass black actress. Okay? And then the article he chose is Leslie Jones bombarded with her racist tweets after Ghostbusters opens. It's literally not the same meaning as the narrative title that he just said, because in one, it's in his supposed narrative, it's the literal fans themselves that are harassing the actress purely for being black. And in this article title, Leslie Jones doesn't say black actress bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opens. Nowhere does it say that the fans are harassing her for being black. All right. Okay, and then let's just continue this video.
Any legit criticisms of the character or her performance immediately went out the window, and the only thing people saw was that all-important, emotionally manipulative headline, conveniently forgetting the fact that nobody had a...
And the only thing people saw was that emotionally manipulative headline. This emotionally manipulative headline, or the one that you just made up yourself? This is laughable. Dude, holy shit. If this guy needs to take a look in the mirror. I think he's just high on his own supply. This is actually embarrassing. For a movie critic. What is he, a movie critic or like a media critic? Is he a critic of the idea that Twitter presents is he a critic of the idea that reactionary Twitter presents of the media? Or is he an actual movie critic? I'm confused.
A problem with Ernie Hudson's Winston 3 decades earlier.
No.
That all-important, emotionally manipulative headline, conveniently forgetting the fact that nobody had a problem with Ernie Hudson's Winston 3 decades earlier.
What the hell is going on, dude? I'm so confused. So wait a second. We actually have to break down what he's saying here. So the one article that he's actually cited, and he hasn't even cited, he just threw up the headline, said Leslie Jones bombarded with racist tweets after Ghostbusters opened. This actually happened, and the article is reporting on it. Okay, this isn't even like a fluff piece. Like, as far as we know, this is just like an actual journalistic piece. He made up this. He himself made up the headline: "Racist toxic fans harass black actress," and now he's saying they're conveniently forgetting the fact that racist toxic fans didn't harass black actor. What is this guy's name? Ernie Ford, did he say?
Truly, the fact that nobody had a problem with Ernie Hudson's Winston 3 decades.
Ernie Hudson's Winston. Let's take a look. Ernie Hudson Winston. Zettermore. Oh, so he actually is. Yeah, so he was actually in Ghostbusters. Appearances. Video games. Zettermore. I mean, yeah, he's just making this up, right? Racist toxic fans harass black actress. He's saying, well, they didn't say that racist toxic fans harass black actor. Okay, but like, that was 30 years ago. There wasn't Twitter back then. Plus, if he was threatened of a lynching, do you think people would actually report on it 30 years ago? Like, okay, let's just continue this.
Earlier, truly, there was no ploy or gambit, no matter how dirty or desperate, that they wouldn't try to use to sell this movie. But as it turned out,
What? What? No ploy or gambit? No matter how dirt. So, making the objective statement that fans were tweeting racist stuff at the headlining black actress is a dirty ploy to sell the movie? Oh my god, dude. Like, this guy is just so deep into his own sauce. Okay, let's continue.
all the underhanded tactics in the world couldn't make Ghostbusters a hit. But what it did do was set the fan baiting
Underhand. Dude, writing a single article about how like a black actress got racist tweets is an underhanded tactic? Dude, this is crazy. This is crazy.
ball rolling, and pretty soon this shit became standard practice within the industry. Not just an uncomfortable reality of a hyper-polarized marketplace, but an accepted part of a project's marketing strategy. And truly, one of the biggest offenders has got to be Disney. They're practically falling over.
I don't even know what he's talking about right now. Is he talking like fans being racist is an underhanded marketing tactic for movie companies? Is that like he's just twisted into such a weird spot that I just legitimately have no idea what he's talking about, and I don't think he does either.
Over themselves to antagonize their own fans these days and farm the resultant controversy for everything it's worth. You thought Rose Tico was a badly written character who added nothing to The Last Jedi and actually took away from pre-existing characters like Finn? Shut up, you bigot! You're no different from—
Oh, fuck. Okay. What's her name? Rose Tico? Star Wars? Bro, this is painful. Alright, Wikipedia time, let's go. The character of Rose Tico, and performance by Kelly Marie Tran, has received a largely positive reception from critics, but mixed reviews from fans, with several commentators calling her the breakout star of The Last Jedi. Katarina Daly of Screen Rant said, based on critic and fan reactions alike, Rose Tico has quickly gone on to become yet another character in the long line of icons to emerge from Star Wars. I'm not comfortable calling her an icon. Okay. Daly praised Rose Tico's vulnerability, wit, strength, and compassion, saying she embodies all the... I mean, she is a dumbass, which kind of makes her a relatable character and, like, humanizes her in a way. The Observer film critic Mark Kermode calls Tran's performance winning. Okay, these are critical receptions. Some critics who disliked The Last Jedi were still complimentary towards aspects of Rose Tico's character on Tran's performance. He disliked the film and particularly criticized the Canto bite scene sequence. Nevertheless, noted the chemistry between Finn and Rose makes them easily the most likable and sympathetic characters in the film. Ooh, that's saying something. Similarly, Ryan Syrek of The Reader felt the first half of The Last Jedi was clunky and subplot involving Finn and Rose's efforts to shut down the tracking device worked poorly. But he said the character dynamics between the two were strong and described Rose as his favorite new character from the trilogy. Several critics responded negatively to the Canto bite subplot with Rose and Finn, calling it an unnecessary and distracting element of the film that contributed little to the overall storyline. That's true. Other critics were more negative about the Rose Tico character. Golf News writer Shyama Krishna Kumar called Rose a welcome addition overall, but said she could have benefited from additional depth. Also true. Cineview writer Christopher Mitchell described the character as woefully underwritten. Yeah, they were trying to do a lot of shit in that movie. Kyle Pinion of The Beat called the character basically a non-entity, saying, she never seems to grow beyond Ernest and her relationship with Finn felt rushed. Yeah, I would actually agree with that. Armand White of the National Review calls the relationship between Finn and Rose a politically correct multi-culti play. I don't know why you would go there when you could just criticize their relationship. Like, this isn't actually a criticism, right? You can have a well-written character and you can have them be black for politically correct reasons, but they're still a well-written character. They're just black. Like, I don't agree with this criticism at all. Anne O'Connor of the Irish Independent called the Rose and Finn pairing and subplot weak. Felt they had bad chemistry in their storyline and misguided side quest. Okay, so there are legit movie critics that criticized the character of Rose. I just read about 4 or 5 very good criticisms of the character of Rose Tico. Then there's a whole online harassment section. Fuck. I'll read a paragraph of this. Despite the positive reviews, Tran became the subject of racist and sexist attacks over the internet, including results about her ethnicity and weight, insults. What am I saying? I said results. So insults about her ethnicity and weight. In no way does that have anything to do with the Star Wars character. Jesus Christ. Okay, that's all I'm gonna read. So we have actual professional criticism levied towards the character, and then we have legit online harassment that has nothing to do with the character. Okay? Does everyone got that? We have it sorted out now. So, let's go back to the fucking critical drinker. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I'm watching this fucking guy.
Kelly days and farm the resulting controversy for everything it's worth. You thought Rose Tico was a badly written character who added nothing to The Last Jedi and actually took away from pre-existing characters like Finn? Shut up, you bigot! You're no different from the people who chased Kelly Marie Tran off social media. You thought...
Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't even know what to say. Do we have examples of critics being called bigots for their genuine criticism of the character Rose? No? Do we have examples of fans harassing the actress that played Rose for her race and her gender and her weight? Yes? And okay, so I think he's just getting a little bit confused. He should do a little bit less drinking and a little bit more critiquing. Whew. Okay, let's go. Let's continue. If this is just going to be more examples of media shutting down criticism of minority characters, I'm just going to ignore it because he's not actually providing any evidence to support his points. I already brought up actual evidence to dismiss his point and refute it, and I don't feel like it's necessary to do the same for other examples he brings up here. Not that they're actually examples, they're just characters that he doesn't like that are minorities.
Captain Marvel was kind of bland and unlikable, with no compelling struggle or conflict, and powers that basically make her an invincible god that nobody could challenge. Clearly, you just hate women. You thought the Eternals was a boring, incoherent mess with no idea what it was trying to say or be, made by an inexperienced director that was completely out of her depth. You need to silence those disgusting thoughts, because this film is literally saving lives. You thought the Mulan remake undermined the experienced director that was completely out of her depth. You need to silence those disgusting thoughts, because this film...
Marvel actor says Eternals' LGBT plus representation will save lives. It's above and beyond. Like, again, where is the example of criticism being dismissed by the studio, the producer, the director, the actors, even just media articles saying that this is going to save lives, so you shouldn't criticize it? Give me the fucking article. You can't just say things without backing it up, okay? This is ridiculous, dude.
Is literally saving lives. You thought that...
So, fuck, I can't wear glasses. Also, this guy's like, he has so much hatred in his voice. He needs to get off Twitter. This is crazy. This is what Twitter does to you. It melts your brain. God damn.
A Mulan remake undermined the originals.
Okay, I did hear that the Mulan remake sucked. And, yeah. So, but we'll see if he actually criticizes it. Other than saying, we'll see if he gives it an actual criticism and doesn't just say, the media says that if you criticize this, you're a woman hater. So fuck off.
Inspiring message about the value of hard work, determination, and resilience in favor of the lazy, meaningless, and potentially harmful platitude that being female makes you automatically brilliant at everything.
Holy shit, I don't think I have not seen this movie, but I don't think that's the takeaway from the movie. I think that this one character was actually just chosen by the gods. I don't think all of the women in this movie were like superhuman. What the fuck? Like, is he even watching movies that he's supposedly criticizing anymore?
God, you're such a toxic hater. Damn, man, it's even gotten to the point where they wheel out these excuses and thinly veiled provocations before the product even gets released. Like Tim Miller with Terminator Dark...
What did he just say? Hold on, what?
Hater. Damn, man, it's even gotten to the point where they wheel out these excuses and thinly veiled provocations before the product even gets released.
They rely on these excuses and thinly veiled provocations. So wait, is the movie getting provoked now? Or are they getting provoked by the racism? So the racism is provoking the movie into deflecting any and all criticism of the movie, but it's just a defense mechanism because the racism was hurting the movie first, and then now they're just defending themselves. God damn, I'm so confused. Maybe this example will clear it up.
Like Tim Miller with Terminator Dark Fate, who proudly proclaimed the androgynous thing... Sorry, old habits die hard. Grace would be an awesome character for enlightened individuals, but...
Why doesn't he actually just read these article titles? Like, he has the articles up in front of him, but he just insists on sensationalizing these sensationalist article titles. What the hell is going on? Tim Miller says, I'll just read it. Tim Miller says, Terminator Dark Fate will scare the fuck out of misogynistic internet trolls. Okay, a little bit self-indulgent there. I don't think it will actually scare misogynists. But whatever, it's kind of a funny headline. Like, I can see someone saying it just as an offhand comment. Oh, this will scare them. When you're just like shooting the shit. I don't know if this was an article that he actually wrote up. It's probably just like a line from an interview. And so it's like a line from an interview taken out of context, put onto the article headline, and then he reads it throws it into an even more out of context narrative he's trying to weave. Like, I love how he's complaining that media is creating a narrative while he's creating his own narrative that's completely delusional. And then he doesn't even take the time or care to read the fucking headline that he searched up. He searched up 2 headlines and he misquoted both of them into something completely sensationalist. He's like, only enlightened individuals will respect my androgynous looking protagonist.
But would scare the crap out of basement-dwelling misogynists.
Oh god, this is such a cringy... God damn, I thought this guy was like going to be an actual movie critic. But he's just like a cringy fucking reactionary internet personality.
Oh no, Tim, please stop. The implication was as subtle as a purple unicorn with a chainsaw superglued to its forehead.
Dude, you don't need these colorful fucking metaphors. Or similes. Let's just get to the point. Come on, this video is long enough. Like, this was supposed to be a fucking Rings of Power video. We're 6.5 minutes in.
If you didn't like this character, and by extension the film she was in, then clearly you're the problem.
Yeah, because... I know, dude. It's a fucking clickbait article. Like, God, and he's not even reading the article names. Okay. I'm never gonna get through this video.
Or how about Moses Ingram from Obi-Wan Kenobi?
It's literally, like, this video is just literally all the same, man. He's finding movies that he doesn't like with characters that are either female or black or both, and then saying that you can't actually criticize the movie because the media is going to deflect that criticism and say that it's just racism. He's just saying this over and over again and coming up with he's just coming up with like more examples of fucking minority characters that he doesn't like. Yeah, it looked like crap. And not because the character was androgynous. Who gives a fuck? I didn't watch it either. The Terminator franchise is over and done with. Jesus.
Who was apparently briefed in advance by Lucasfilm that she'd be getting racist hate from Toxic
What is
Kenobi,
going on?
who was apparently briefed in advance.
What movie is this?
Or how about Moses Ingram from Obi-Wan Kenobi, who was apparently briefed in advance.
Haven't seen Obi-Wan Kenobi. Don't know if it's good or not. The visuals look pretty good. So let's see what actual criticism he levies at this. Yeah, Terminator shouldn't be remade until after we've actually defeated the Terminator robot revolution.
By Lucasfilm that she'd be getting racist hate from toxic fans, almost like they were counting on it happening. I mean, I'm not for...
Yeah, maybe because people aren't fucking as brain dead as you. And when you see over and over again black actors, specifically black actresses, getting online hate purely because of their race, maybe you should let current and future black actresses know that that's a possibility. It might happen. I generally am sick of Star Wars universe, and I think it's one of the most artistically bankrupt franchises in existence. Yeah, I feel like you have to be pretty selective with your intake of media, right? Because you can have brief flashes of brilliance in a tired genre or universe. So like the Marvel movies, I think the Marvel movies kind of dropped off a lot, but I did like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. I liked Thor Ragnarok. I wasn't a huge fan, but I didn't think it was horrible. And I think that the same can go for Star Wars movies. Like the original trilogy was good. The Clone Wars animated series was good. They're releasing like a new Clone Wars TV show that's like a few episodes. I'm kind of actually interested in watching that. Yeah, I heard Love and Thunder had some... I heard like if you were expecting it to be like Thor Ragnarok or like a serious movie, maybe don't watch it. Yeah, like if you allow yourself to just consume all of the fucking Star Wars shit that they're making right now, you are going to get sick of it. So Yeah, I barely watch any Star Wars shit. So, okay, so right now we're at the part of the video where he's, instead of just saying that a movie is deflecting criticism because there's a black character in it, he's now saying that the movies are prepping their actors and actresses, saying that they might experience harassment online or in person.
For a moment suggesting that studios would create sock puppet accounts on social media to false flag harass their own actors,
Holy shit.
fans, almost like they were counting on it happening. I mean, I'm not for a moment suggesting that studios would create sock puppet accounts on social media to false flag harass their own actors and drum up controversy to help defend their shitty products or anything. But wouldn't you know it, some convenient cherry-picked examples were soon produced out of the tens of thousands of social media interactions she probably gets, thus negating any actual criticism of the character, the writing, or the show at large. How's that
Oh, fuck. What a frame to pause on. So wait. He has gone completely conspiracied. He's just gone. He's just gone right now. Okay. So he said characters have been experiencing harassment. He even admitted it. So he admitted it, but he's saying that media is just looking at that harassment, and then the studios are using that harassment in those media articles to deflect any valid criticism of their works. Okay. And now movie studios are prepping their minority actors, saying they might get harassment. All right. So that, like, actors experience harassment, movie studios prepping other actors. So that follows. Okay. That, like, we can get to point B from point A. That works. And then he's saying, wait, and then he's saying, and then movie studios are making fake accounts to harass their newly hired actors to preempt all of this criticism that they're going to get for having shitty characters. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. I gotta go back on
So
this.
mermaid criticism of the character, the
Dude, I don't even want to get into Ariel right now.
she probably gets, thus negating any actual criticism of the character, the writing, or the show at large. How's that Little Mermaid?
What the fuck?
criticism of thousands of so know it? Some convenient cherry-picked examples were soon produced out of the tens of thousands of social media interactions she probably.
What is he saying? Can he take a step back and just look at what he's saying? So he's saying that. Okay, so he's saying there are this actress does interactions on Twitter. Some of them are racist. Media articles are written about the racist interactions. Therefore, it's a conspiracy because they don't write about all of her Twitter interactions. So since they only write about the racism and the harassment interactions, it's a fucking conspiracy. Holy fuck! This guy just blew my mind. Jesus Christ. He hasn't even been... Dude, okay. So, so he said, yeah, sure, there's harassment, but they just look at the harassment. They just look at the harassment, and that's all the media writes about. Okay, fine, that's one viewpoint. I mean, I think that's fair, because there is media that writes about racist harassment, and then there's media that writes about movie reviews. These don't necessarily intermix. So he's saying, like, yeah, okay, there's some racism. And then he's saying, okay, and now this new racism, that must be the movie studio then. This racism over here, that might have been legit. But this is the movie studio just being racist. Dude, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on. I think he just needs to, like, go outside, maybe put down the bottle, pick up some water, go for a walk, lay down in a field somewhere, get a few ticks on him, get Lyme's disease, and then maybe go into a hospital. That would be touch grass, get Lyme's. That would be my prescription for him. Stop making videos. Maybe get off Twitter for a bit too. Like maybe when you're recuperating from your Lyme's disease, you don't go on Twitter. That would be good. Just watch the movies, but maybe don't go on Twitter. Oh fuck. Okay. Well, now we're getting to Ariel.
He gets, thus negating any actual criticism of the character, the writing, or the show at large. How's that Little Mermaid trailer working out for you, Disney? But it's not.
God, dude. Fuck. I hope this guy's not depressed. I hope he's not suicidal.
Not just Disney that have got into the fan baiting game. It was the same deal with the new Resident Evil show on Netflix, which turns out to be an absolutely laughable disaster with almost nothing to do with its source material. But what did all the promotion and media articles focus on before its release? The fact that the showrunners took an iconic.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty shitty.
Antagonist known.
But let's see what actual criticism he gives it.
Show on Netflix, which turns out to be an absolutely laughable disaster with almost nothing to do with its source material. But what did all the promotion and media articles focus on before?
Calling it a laughable disaster and having nothing to do with its source material is not good criticism for a movie criticism channel.
For its release, the fact that the showrunners took an iconic antagonist known for his blonde swept-back hair and sunglasses and recast him with a black actor. The intent.
Wait, what? That's his criticism? That's the one detail. That's the one specific detail he actually points to criticize about the show. That instead of swept-back blonde hair, he has swept-back black hair. Wait, dude, are you fucking serious?
Focus on before it's released.
Like now he's stepping a little bit too hard into just being blatantly racist.
The fact.
If his one criticism is the guy doesn't have blonde hair, he has black hair now.
The fact that the showrunners took an iconic antagonist known for.
Okay, and then an iconic antagonist. Let's take a look.
His blonde swept-back hair and sunglasses and recast.
1, 2, 1, 2. You know what? They actually kind of look similar, man. I mean, for live action from video game to live action, they kind of look similar. I'm not gonna lie.
Took an iconic antagonist.
Wait, hold on. What the fuck is he saying? I need to rewind this shit.
But it's not just Disney that have got into the fan baiting game. It was the same deal with the new Resident Evil show on Netflix.
Okay, so let's see how they're fan baiting. How are they fan baiting? Remember, at the beginning of this motherfucking video, he says that fan baiting is intentionally provoking and antagonizing their fan bases. How is this shit intentionally antagonizing and provoking its fan base? Okay? Let's see if he explains that.
Which turns out to be an absolutely laughable disaster with almost nothing to do with its source material. But what did all the promotion and media articles focus on before its release? The fact that the showrunners took an iconic antagonist known for his blonde swept-back hair and sunglasses and recast him with a black actor. The intention was clear. They were trying to.
I'm actually so confused. So fan baiting is provoking and antagonizing their fan bases to gain attention. Here, I'll just pull out my notes. To gain attention and deflect criticism. They did this by getting a black actor. A black actor is intentionally provoking and antagonizing the fan base. And to deflect criticism, like to gain attention and deflect criticism from the shit. Jesus fucking Christ. The reality of the show is they had a script and a sci-fi TV show. Oh, a generic sci-fi TV show and slapped Ari name on it retroactively. That's it. Yeah, I'm assuming since he said it has nothing to do with the source material, wouldn't that be more antagonizing and provoking other than basically having a carbon copy of an iconic antagonist but just making him black? And dude, the guy he doesn't talk about the guy's clothes. He doesn't talk about his superpowers or whatever. He doesn't talk about his personality. He talks about the blonde hair. You know what blonde hair is code for? It's code for white skin. That's what it's code for. Holy shit, dude. It's just like the racism is so thinly veiled. It's crazy. Like he's actually just slipping into blatant racism.
Bait the fan base into reacting to such a bizarre change.
Yeah, I've seen that actor
they
before.
decry
He's great.
racism And ignore actual criticism of the turd that they'd produced. And let's not bullshit each other here. This kind of guilt by association crap has an impact, not just on public perception, but on professional critics as well.
Guilt by association? So I guess he's saying, like, if you criticize the movie, if you criticize a movie or character that's being criticized or being harassed, then you're, like, lumped in with people that harass it, that harass the character. I mean, maybe if you're talking shit about the color of their hair as your movie criticism, then yeah, I can be okay with you getting lumped in with the racists. Give me an actual fucking criticism.
People whose theoretical job it is to assess the strengths and weaknesses of a new piece of media fairly, without bias or undue influence, so they can give the general public...
Dude, holy fuck. Anyone who talks about, like, oh, well, you shouldn't, or you need to do this without being biased is actually just, like, drinking the Kool-Aid. No one is unbiased. Holy fuck, let's go. Red Letter Media shat all over Star Wars, Ghostbusters, and all the movies. I know, like, do I really need to read the fucking criticisms of Rose Tunto or whatever her fucking name is? They actually criticize the movies, and he's just criticizing them for, like, I don't know, being Asian.
public a reasonable sense of whether a new project is worth watching.
Yeah, like this phenomenon that he's talking about. He's talking about two different phenomena. One phenomena is movies having black actors to antagonize their fans, okay, and like get them, riled up or whatever. Like that's just weird in my opinion. And then the other phenomena is movies brushing off actual criticism by just calling it racist, something that doesn't happen. So, you know, I think he's right. He might actually fans might actually be antagonized by like swapping the race or gender of characters, but that's just being called racist or sexist. It's not actually like hurting the quality of the movie at all. Dude, Idris Elba's James Bond would actually be sweet. Also, is James Bond supposed to be... Oh, for some reason I thought James Bond was like Doctor Who, where his character actually changes. But no, I'm pretty sure James Bond is supposed to be like the same guy in universe. Yeah, Idris Elba's last movie about the lion, that looked pretty bad. That looked actually horrible. Yeah, 007 is just a code name. Yeah, I mean, they could just take the James Bond character and have him be like a new in-universe guy.
Really?
Like, it's just a series of fun action spy thrillers.
Who wants to be lumped in with all those toxic bigots that dare to criticize a movie for having a diverse cast?
This doesn't happen. And people don't criticize movies for having diverse casts. They criticize them for having black characters or women. Not for it being a diverse cast. They're not like, oh, well, the proportionality of like Asian to Indian to black to white was perfect for the proportionality of that demographics in the country. Or they're like criticizing it for being too perfect. No, they're criticizing them for having minorities in a leading role.
who wants to be ostracised from their peers lose that all-important access to premieres and set visits, and tainted with an accusation that they can never quite escape for the rest of the...
Holy fuck, dude. Like, to be fair, I don't know if critics actually lose their places to premieres by writing up bad reviews. But if you're racist in your criticism, then you might get ostracized from your peers. If you criticize a character that is experiencing harassment for non-racist reasons, like, then it doesn't happen. Like, then no one's going to get rid of you. Yeah, and the majority of critics are white. Like, this is so stupid.
Their careers. Ever wondered why critic and audience scores look like they're reviewing completely different movies these days? It's because it's easier to take the safe option and praise the things you're expected to praise, rather than risk voicing your true opinion.
Dude, give me a single example of a critic that criticized a movie and then was punished for it. Give me one example. Your name is literally Critical Drinker. You have a YouTube channel about criticizing movies. You're writing a 14.5-minute long video about this very topic. Give me one example of this. Otherwise, I'm not going to believe you.
Opinions. I mean, really, do you think Black Panther would have been lavished with such wild, borderline hysterical praise if it had been set in Northern Europe and starring an all-white cast?
What the fuck is he talking about? What is he? No, he's just literally finding any movie with a black cast and just saying that the only good reviews are because they're black? What the fuck is going on, dude? The whole point of the movie is that it's a look at racism. What? An all-white cast in Europe pretending to be in Africa? So it's just a movie about a bunch of delusional people? Like, people as delusional as Critical Drinker? Yeah. What the fuck is going on? Dude, I did not think that this would get worse. Dude, holy shit. I did not think this video was going to get worse than the first, 20 seconds when he said that diversity causes antagonism of their fan bases and provokes them. I did not think that it'd get worse, dude. This is so bad. Robin Goodfellow, how long have you been watching? Dude, I gotta rewind to this Black Panther part. This is so too good.
Praise the things you're expected to praise, rather than risk voicing your true opinions. I mean, really, do you think Black Panther would have been lavished with such wild, borderline hysterical praise if it had been set in Northern Europe and starring an all-white cast? The sad reality...
Holy shit, dude. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even think Black Panther was that good. Like, the climactic battle where they were just basically in their super suits, bashing each other and shit, that's kind of lame. I liked a lot of the character development and stuff, but the superpowers weren't great. I liked Killmonger's superpowers before he just got Superman suit that just turned him into a... Yeah, they have the movie Thor. There are literally hundreds of thousands of white-only movies. Just watch. I don't know what's going on. Jesus Christ. This is bad. This is really bad. And notice how now he's not even talking about the movie itself. He's just talking about the media reception of the movie. And not even... not enough. We need twice as many. He's not even talking about the media's reception of the minority characters. Now he's just finding movies with black people or women in it, and is they wouldn't do this if it was white. Dude, this video has devolved so much, and we still have 6 minutes left.
...is that controversy creates attention. Which brings me at last to what may be the ultimate
What?
example of...
Controversy creates attention? Wait, where... Is he saying that having a African-centered movie is controversy? Wait. Wouldn't it be more controversial if media was saying, if the media was criticizing it for being African-centered? because then it'd be like, oh, you might be racist, that's controversy, and then that would create more attention.
If it had been set in Northern Europe and starring an all-white cast, the sad reality is that controversy creates attention. Which brings me at last.
And then he just gets off of the point of the Black Panther. Wait, so he visits the Black Panther to say, if this was an all-white cast centered in Europe, it wouldn't have the same impact as an all-black cast, which it wasn't an all-black cast. There were 2 key characters that I can think of right off the top of my head that were white, and it's centered in Africa. And then he says, controversy creates attention, and then he leaves. So he's just, I don't know, he's just ranting right now about black characters and the liberal media, and it actually just has no root in reality whatsoever. This is a very embarrassing video. Like, it has millions of views, but I don't know. I don't know, man. Like, he should probably take it down. This is pretty bad.
Last to what may be the ultimate example of fan baiting.
Oh my god, finally! The Rings of Power! This is what I clicked on the video for, I completely forgot. 8 minutes and 50 seconds in. Holy shit. Just wait until Snow White comes out. Alright. 8 minutes and 50 seconds in, we're finally getting to the Rings of Power. Yes, I was waiting so long to get an actual criticism of this show, because I watched the show. I was not a fan of it. I thought there were many problems in it. I have seen one of this guy's videos before where he actually praised the movie pretty well, and I wanted to see what his opinion was on the Rings of Power. Little did I know this would just be a hate-filled rant about more women and black people in his media that he consumes. But we're actually there. Let's see what we get. I mean, I don't have good hopes.
Its attention. Which brings me at last to what may be the ultimate example of fan baiting. The Rings of Power. Right from the start.
This is the ultimate example of fan baiting. Okay. Gotta pull out my notepad for this. The Rings of Power. The Rings of... Here, I'll scroll it down. Rings of Power are the ultimate, or I'll say is the ultimate example of fan baiting. Still not completely sure what fan baiting is, but maybe he'll support his claim of why the Rings of Power is the ultimate example of fan baiting.
The atmosphere around this show was pretty contentious after years of power. Right from the start, the atmosphere around this show was pretty contentious.
Okay, so he said the atmosphere about the show was pretty contentious. I don't know if he's talking about in-show atmosphere or the media atmosphere about the show. Right from the start, so my reaction watching the first episode is he actually showed out
the Rings of
few
Power.
Scenes here.
Right from the start, the atmosphere around this show was...
So we see like these elves fighting the orcs, and you're just thrown into that immediately with like a voiceover of Galadriel, and it's just not a good scene. You don't know, you were just introduced to Galadriel as she was a kid. They spend no time world building at all. They're thrown directly into like the middle of a battle, and then then you flash again and the battle's over. You just are you do not have any time to get your whereabouts in this universe that they're like basically trying to reintroduce you to. Since this is a prelogue to The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, they don't really have the luxury of assuming you know where you are in this world. In my opinion, they should have spent a lot of time grounding you into this universe before it just exploding with like a giant battle in your face, directly into like an emotional death scene, directly into like a chase scene and hunting shit in the north. It is not like I did not enjoy the pacing of this at all, of this show in general, and especially the first few scenes of this first episode I thought were atrocious. So he said the atmosphere was contentious. I mean, if he's talking about in show, I completely agree. They're literally in a battle. That's as contentious as you can get. The atmosphere. But if he's talking around the show, like contentious about what? The atmosphere of the show was contentious.
Pretty contentious after years of terrible reboots, remakes, and modern reinterpretations.
Okay, so he's talking about the atmosphere around the show, not of the show itself.
Of classic franchises. Nobody was particularly optimistic about Amazon buying up the rights to one of the most beloved fantasy stories of all time. Would they stay true?
Okay, so the atmosphere of the show was contentious. Would Amazon stay true to the source material? And staying true to the source material doesn't necessarily mean, or not staying true to the source material doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be bad. But it could be an indicator of like poorer quality than what you're used to. Not that The Hobbit was good at all.
True to the lore or change it to suit their needs? Would they honor the
Change it to suit their needs. Oh, what the fuck? Change it to suit their... What the fuck is going on? Or change it to suit their needs.
spirit of Tolkien's work, or twist it and remake it to reflect the world we live in today? The answer's
Oh my god, dude. So many false dichotomies. I'm not even gonna... So he's saying suit their needs is reflecting it to match the world that we live in today. So like, do you want them to speak Old English? Like what they would have if it was medieval Europe? Like this is such a fucking stupid false dichotomy. He's fine with them changing things that he doesn't care about, but he gets all in a tizzy when they change stuff that he does think is necessary. Such a false dichotomy. Okay, I'm just gonna say reflect the world we live in today.
came soon enough with the first batch of promotional images, which made sure to feature the answers came soon enough with the first batch of promotional images, which made sure to feature race-swapped elves,
Bro. Which made sure to feature race-swapped elves and dwarves. These are like very important characters in the fucking TV show. What do you mean? They're showcasing their protagonists, the costume design of their protagonists. What is going on, man?
dwarves and hobbits in center stage that were
First of all, these are like the only 3 fucking black characters in the show. Wait, what the fuck is going... Like, hold on. So he's saying, would Amazon stay true to the source material or change it to suit their needs / like reflect the world we live in today? Then he said the answer came soon enough when they showed race-swapped elves. Bro. So you're saying that black elves don't stay true to the source material of Lord of the Rings. Guess what, asshat? They never actually explicitly stated that elves were white. They sometimes described certain elvish characters as having fair skin. Like, I fucking looked this up after watching this video. They never specifically state the skin color of all, like, individuals of certain races. So, this is literally just your racism. This doesn't have any root in the media reality. This doesn't have any root in the lore or source material that you claim to be such a fan of. Like, I don't think I need to say anything else. Like, showing black characters is going... Like, he's basically saying showing black characters is ruining the series. And like, yeah, that's pretty fucking racist. Okay, let's continue.
never part of Tolkien's world, and female political... dwarves and hobbits in center stage that were never part of Tolkien. Feature race-swapped elves, dwarves and hobbits in center stage that were never part of Tolkien's world.
Guess what, motherfucker? None of these characters are part of Tolkien's world. These are all newly created characters. This is so stupid. Oh my god. Oh my god. This guy needs to, like, drink some water. Drink water. Go outside. Lay in the grass. Get bit by a tick. Get Lyme's disease. Let's go.
And female political leaders and sorcerers turned into sword-swinging girl boss soldiers.
Now he has a problem with Galadriel? Dude, if this guy was around when the original Lord of the Rings came out, he'd be like, this woman is too much of a girl boss. She scares Gandalf and she makes Gimli in love with her. She's such a girl boss. It's so unrealistic. And now he's like, well, she was a politician in the original, but now she's a sword-swinging girl boss. This is so unrealistic to Tolkien's source material and lore. Dude. Just like fucking jerk off. What the fuck is going on, man? This is actually ridiculous. Black characters against Tolkien's lore. A elvish sorceress that is the leader of her people, he's fine with. Give her a sword against the lore. Now she's a girl boss. Holy fuck. Just get off Twitter. Can we have... You know how in Black Mirror they had this they had the thing installed in people's eyes, and like in the episode that John Hamm was in where he got a guy to confess to murder, like his punishment was he goes outside and they like socially isolate him, and whenever he looks at someone the outline of them was all blurred, and it just said like, you are socially isolated or something, and then he like freaks out and shit. Can we have like social punishments for people to get them off of Twitter? I mean, I know that there's banning people from Twitter, but you can still look at it. You just can't post. I want something like that where we can just be like, your punishment is 23 days off of Twitter. Click it. And then he's like, can't get on Twitter. It's gonna be like a wild animal, like in a pen for a bit. He's gonna like freak out, run around, piss and shit everywhere, start salivating, refuse to eat for a few days. But after a while, he might actually calm down. He might start to go outside, experience new scents, experience new smells. Not like start uncurling his head from his ass. Just maybe a bit, and then maybe by the end of the few days, he'll go back onto Twitter. Maybe he won't be so involved, though. Maybe he'll have learned something. One can hope. One can dream. All right, well, we've yet to actually experience any criticism of the show other than these characters are black and this one woman that he claims was a political leader that scared the shit out of Gandalf. Like, come on, man. She scared Gandalf. Is now a girl boss because she has a sword. Is he a 5th grader? Okay, let's continue.
They were practically daring the fans to challenge them, and when they...
3 black characters in the entire fucking series is practically daring the fans to challenge them.
inevitably did, the first batch of hit piece show media...
Okay, so let's take a step back. Notice how in this entire video, he's been claiming that there have been racist, or he started off claiming there may be some racist fans, but the movie studios are counting on that. They cherry pick the racism, they bring it to center stage, and then they blow that racism up so much that when they defend against that racism, it effectively defends against any criticism of the movie because the racism is so overblown that any criticism can just be lumped in with that racism, with that racist harassment. Then, with the Obi-Wan Kenobi character, with the black actress in Obi-Wan Kenobi, he shifted it a little bit more. And it went from there are racist people that just get cherry-picked to maybe it's the studio that is making sock puppets that's levying racism at itself to create a shield to defend it from any criticism. Now we're at the Rings of Power. He said this was a very contentious atmosphere. I'm like, okay, how is it contentious? This is how it's contentious. Black characters and a woman with a sword, and he went from the movie studio producing like sock puppet racism harassment to now just saying they made black characters, which causes racism, and now this racism is just being levied at the characters, and they're not even using it to defend. They're not even using it to defend against valid criticism. Now, like, he shifted so far that now he's not even pointing out valid criticism of the series. Now he's just defending racist backlash. Like, now he's just saying don't have black characters at all. If you have black characters, you should experience racist harassment. Let's actually take a look at this article. A racist backlash to Rings of Power puts Tolkien's legacy into focus. The Lord of the Rings series' inclusive casting has sparked social media vitriol from those who insist J.R.R. Tolkien intended Middle-earth to be populated by white characters only. Yet this belief is not only faulty, it misses the spirit of the author entirely, writes The Hollywood Reporter contributor Richard Newby. So let's rewind a bit.
Leaders and sorcerers turned into sword-swinging girl-boss soldiers. They were practically daring the fans to challenge them, and when they inevitably did, the first batch of hit piece shit.
Yeah, so this is like what we have. We have happy little accidents of racism being blown up. And then we have maybe the movie studios are making the racist comments themselves. And now we have black characters are causing racism. And the movie studios are begging racism to come by just getting black characters and like posting pictures of them. Like he's not even defending the movie. He's not even defending the movie, or he's not even criticizing the movie and saying that they're just using racism to brush away criticisms. Now he's just saying you shouldn't complain about racist harassment, and you should in fact expect it. Han Fixar Cabine says, I think Star Wars did it best. They to a hack actor and thrust him into a staring role to placate the woke left, and Star Wars sucked and destroyed the franchise. It was glorious. Oh, they got a hack actor. Who was the hack actor? Tell me. They got a hack actor? Okay. All right, let's continue.
Social media articles surfaced. Pretty soon, this one topic became the focal point for the show's entire marketing campaign. Actors,
Dude, holy shit, man. The guy's saying, like, they posted pictures of some characters, some of which were black. They got racism. And that's it, because the fucking show hadn't released yet, so there weren't any criticisms of it yet. And then they're talking about the racism, and he's, like, mad that they're talking about the racism. John Boyega. Dude, that guy's a good actor. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, John Boyega's an actual good actor.
Writers and producers spent more time trying to defend and justify their casting choices rather than talking about the show itself. Sophia Nomvet somehow became the spokesman for the entire cast, banging on endlessly about how playing
what
a
is going on?
Different skin color from other dwarves, we talking about the show itself. Trying to defend and justify their casting choices rather than talking about the show itself.
Yeah, dude, I'm sure that they talked literally nothing about the show itself because all of their time was spent talking about the casting choices of the show. This is so ridiculous, man.
Sophia Nomvet somehow became the spokesman for the entire cast, banging on endlessly about how playing a dwarf with a different skin colour from other dwarves we've seen until now is some kind of glass ceiling shattering event that puts her up there with Rosa Parks and Martin Luther King.
Holy fuck, dude. Show me...
This
Like, he's just making claims, man. Like, of course he's hyperbolizing this shit, but he's just being... Yeah, he's just framing them in such an uncharitable light, and then, like, he's not even framing them in an uncharitable light. He's just straight up misrepresenting what they're saying, like their actual positions on shit. Like, I'm sure that she's not calling herself a social justice warrior for being a black woman, playing a dwarf. But let's just hear it.
represents progression. This represents an acknowledgement of where we have been. And
Yeah, she's saying that this represents progression. She's not saying that she's a fucking social justice warrior causing her own progression. She's just saying that more like representation of black people in media is a representation of progression.
a will to get to where we need to be in order for this to be accessible to everyone.
Fucking calm down, love. You're not saving the world here.
Holy shit, dude. She said it represents progression. She never actually said that she herself is the cause of that progression. He's not even listening to her. He hears black actor progression.
The image they desperately wanted to convey is a band of brave, noble artists under siege by braying hordes of toxic, hateful fans.
Well, when you get harassment online, that might be the image that you see them in.
Conveniently ignoring the fact that they're the ones who created the monster they're now fighting.
What? They created the monster? They created racism? He never... Wait. Hold on. Is he going to back this up? Because he acknowledged that there was racist harassment. And they're... Wait, so he's saying that them talking about the harassment that they got is them fighting the monster. Okay, that might be a little bit of a dramatic way of putting it, but you know, I guess they're like discussing it. They're not running away from this racist reception. And now he's saying that they created the racist reception by being in this movie. Let's see if he elaborates on that.
They chose to go against the source material.
Yeah, there it is. They went against the source material. The color of their skin went against the source material. These fans that decided like, oh, I'll try out for the Lord of the Rings. Like maybe I'll get a cool role. And they weren't just cast as orcs, because orcs are the only ones with black skin that he's okay with. But since they weren't cast as orcs, it's going against the source material. But like, don't the female dwarves have beards in Tolkien's, in like the source material of Tolkien's work? Aren't the female dwarves actually bearded? Isn't there like a guy named Tom Bombadil in Tolkien's source material that they never talked about? Like, so he's okay changing some things of the source material, but he's not okay changing other things. Okay, so what is the criteria he uses to like judge what he's okay with changing? Well, women with swords. He's not a fan of girl bosses, even though Galadriel had a sword in the source material, so that's kind of weird. Elves with black skin. He's not okay with that. He specifically said he doesn't like the black skin of the elves. But, you know, they never specifically stated that elves couldn't have black skin in the source material. They never even explicitly stated that all of the elves were white. Same goes for the dwarves. Same goes for the hobbits. So didn't go against the source material there. So nothing went against the source material, but he's still mad about some things. And it seems like those things that he's mad about is black people and women. And that seemed to be a general trend throughout this entire video. So I don't know. It seems to me like maybe the guy's just racist, and maybe he's sexist too. Weird. All right. Well, we're almost done with this video. Let's continue it. I think I'm gonna keep the glasses on for that end, especially if that fucking like picture pops up again.
They claim to have such reverence for, knowing that it would piss people off, but
Okay, so getting 3 black actors out of literally everyone else is pissing them off, is pissing off the fans. Well, maybe it would piss off his fans because like you are what, like your fan community is kind of a reflection of yourself. So I wouldn't be surprised if his fans are pissed off. Because they're probably racist and sexist.
doing it anyway. They chose to shout those changes from the rooftops, rubbing it in the faces of the actual...
Okay, so I'm not going to go over the entire promotional campaign that the Rings of Power did, but literally the only promotion that he brought to light is releasing pictures of black actors and white actors, but black actors and also female actors that he wasn't a fan of. Let's be honest, females with swords that are girl bosses, he's not a fan of those. He's made that loud and clear. But they posted those images, and that was, what did he say? That created a contentious atmosphere. And so shouting these changes from the rooftops is posting a few pictures of your characters, and then talking about the harassment that you experience, specifically when you're asked questions about the harassment that you're experiencing. Okay, all right. I mean, that all goes in line with him being racist, like the Critical Drinker being racist. So that makes sense to me.
fan base who they'd already pissed off. They chose to turn their show into some kind of cultural flashpoint in the...
Okay, so I think we can add dumb. I think we can add dumb to the list of racist and sexist, like things that the Critical Drinker is, because he clearly doesn't know when a character just has darker skin than someone, and when they're like an allegory for certain cultural aspects that we might be experiencing today. So Black Panther is a representation, and it deals with themes of racism, global racism, but specifically racism in America. Black Panther specifically is a movie designed to discuss racism. It takes place in Africa. It has an African-centric cast. A huge part of the story is dealing with the ramifications of European countries colonizing Africa. And the main villain has motivation, like anti-colonialist motivations. And it created a very intriguing story because not only do you kind of sympathize with the main villain, but the true conflict just comes in the form of which way is the best way. Like, you agree with the main villain's motivation, you just might not agree with his methods, right? So the conflict comes from the differing methods between the two main characters. Elves in the Lord of the Rings, elf, I should say, that is black, is just black. He's not talking about racism. He's not talking about like systemic prejudice. He's not talking about like discrimination or fighting against colonialization. He is a colonist. His character is a colonist in the Rings of Power. He's literally like part of an occupying force on a human town. So there's a difference between the Black Panther having black characters and a single elf being black. There's a difference between being black and having black skin as a character. You don't know. In the Lord of the Rings, there could just be characters with black skins. That could be a thing that happens in like their physiology, their anatomy. It could be just like, oh, sometimes a mutation happens and they have a black skin. They never explain it. Just accept it. Same reason you accept the fact that there are dwarves or elves or orcs. It's a magical land. Okay. Having a black character is not a cultural flashpoint. Okay? It's literally just a character with more melanin in their skin. He's not an allegory for fighting against the white supremacist patriarchy that we have in this country. He's just a black character. There's only 3 black characters in this show. Like, okay. I think I've made my point. Yeah. They're not twisting the Lord of the Rings to, what did he say, reflect the world we live in today. They just casted a character that was black. Or they just casted a black actor. Like, this is ridiculous.
Hopes that it would deflect attention and criticism away.
Fucking Christ. And he keeps going back to this, oh, black people are only used to deflect attention and criticism away. No, maybe sometimes they're good actors. I think one of the reasons they got a black actress to play Ariel is because she's a good singer. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Just calm. Take a breath. Take a breath. Get off Twitter. You're banned.
Show into some kind of cultural flashpoint in the hopes that it would deflect attention and criticism away from what they'd actually produced. Like I've said before in a previous video, diverse casting is without doubt a good thing in principle, giving people from different backgrounds, cultures, races and genders a chance to be represented on screen is the fair and right thing for any studio to do. But it doesn't mean it can be done in every single project, regardless of the setting and context, because the reality is that sometimes it just doesn't fit, no matter how hard you try to bend reality around you. If I made a movie about pre-colonial Native Americans and randomly sprinkled some white actors into the tribe with no explanation, then people would have every right to question that.
I mean, he does realize that people have done this before, right? They've made like historical movies with basically race swapped people. Like how many Mexicans did they get to play Native Americans? How many white people have played Native Americans or have played black people in blackface? Like the list is endless. We don't need to go over this. This is just an asinine point. First of all, The Lord of the Rings isn't actually a historical setting with like historical cultures that we can look to and we need it to be historically accurate. There can be black elves. Elves don't exist in the real world. There can be black dwarves. Dwarves don't exist in the real world. There can be black hobbits or Harfoots. Like, I don't even think Harfoots are hobbits. This guy obviously hasn't even seen the fucking show, otherwise he would have criticized it. But he saw that there were black characters, so he's criticizing it for that. And he's doing the very thing that he's complaining, that the movie studios are complaining about, criticizing a piece of media for having black actors. And that's it. And this guy's like runs a fucking YouTube channel that critiques movies. Like, this is embarrassing shit.
Creative choice. It wouldn't make them bigoted or racist. It would just make them normal, rational human beings who know that what I'm showing them doesn't match up with reality. And trying.
Dude, I just saw a fucking play a few days ago. There were 4 actors in the play. And there was about like 10 or 12 characters in the play. So, like, if you do the math, that doesn't really add up, right? The actors had to change costume, change their accents, change their mannerisms to try to convince you that they're a different character. That's kind of what happens in media. Like, you can, or like in movies and TV shows, you act to be someone else. There's such a thing called like the suspension of disbelief. People have been doing it for decades, and only now have we kind of come to the realization or the conclusion that maybe it's better for marginalized actors to actually be or like marginalized communities to actually be represented by communities that we by like the communities that they're supposed to be portraying. So getting actual Native Americans to play Native Americans, getting actual Chinese people to play actual Chinese people, and not just going back to the same old white people. But the fact remains, you can suspend disbelief for shit. If you believe that all elves are fair-skinned, you can suspend your disbelief that, oh, well, maybe this black elf, like, he might not be fair-skinned, but he still acts with this superiority of an elf. He still wears elvish armor. He still has pointed ears. He still hangs out with elves. He's still like immortal in the TV show. Maybe he's an elf. Like, have you ever thought about that?
To paint them.
And yeah, again, there's a difference between a black person playing an elf and making sure that you get Native Americans to play Native Americans, because Native Americans have been they've been a historically marginalized community, and it's never a bad thing to actually try to accurately portray that community with people from that community, because like they've been oppressed for a long time. Like, there's a difference between white erasure and black erasure or native erasure from cultural pools.
Them as such would make me seem like a total asshole trying to dodge criticism. It's the same shitty tactic which would make me know that what I'm showing them doesn't match up with reality, and trying to paint them as such would make me seem like a total asshole trying to dodge.
I am so ready to be done with this video.
That creative choice. It wouldn't make them bigoted or racist. It would just make them normal, rational human beings who know that what I'm showing them doesn't match up with reality. And trying to paint them as such would make me seem like a total asshole trying to dodge criticism.
Also, this is a completely different point than everything he's been talking about in this video so far. So far, he's just been like, oh, they just randomly make people black. But the only problem with it is that they're using that to deflect criticism. And now he's saying that it's like not historically accurate. Like, he started talking about the Rings of Power at like 9 minutes in. We could have cut all of the 9 minutes out, because it doesn't have any relevance to what he's talking about now.
It's the same shitty tactics that go all the way back to Ghostbusters 2016, just more advanced and better organised now. But it results in the same depressing outcome. Actual fans get so...
What is he talking about? Like, at no point is he talking about that the female Ghostbusters should have been men for historical reasons.
Burned and pissed off with the treatment of their franchise that they go into it with the worst possible outlook, determined to find problems.
Alright, like, this video is just drivel. I'm just gonna let it play. I'm gonna relax, man. This is so bad.
To even give it a fair chance. Yeah, it might garner you some short-term sympathy from a general public that doesn't get to see the full picture, and some fake positive reviews from critics scared of being lumped in with the enemies of the state. But in the long term, nothing good comes out of this stuff. With less honest criticism focused on the actual artistic quality of the work, there's less...
Like, notice how he's just like, no one can criticize the actual quality of the work anymore. Now they're just criticizing the race of the character. First of all, like, he's doing that exact thing, right? He's not actually criticizing the Rings of Power for its story structure, its scenes, its pace, its character development. He's just criticizing it for having black actors. Like, he hasn't even seen the show and he's making a video on it. And he's complaining, saying that critics have gotten too soft on movies. And they're too, like, frivolous now or fluffy. Watch the fucking show.
Incentive for writers and showrunners to push themselves to produce better content. It creates a deceptively positive feedback loop where they hear nothing but good things.
Yeah, dude, writers don't care about producing better content now. Such a fucking, like, boomer take, Jesus. Back in my day, writers cared about producing good content and critics never played politics with the movie studios. They were always honest before all this woke shit came out. This is so laughable.
From the professional sources they trust, and conveniently dismiss any criticism as invalid and motivated purely by personal bias. And if you want an example of the overall quality of movies and TV shows being adversely affected, well, look at what we've produced over the past 5 or 6 years. It's also pretty shit for the actors, who for the most part are just honest people looking for their big break. They're not like...
Unless when they're promoting... Except when they're promoting wokeism and being a social justice warrior by being black.
To turn down career-defining roles, even if it means playing characters that they might not be suited to. But ultimately, they're just being used.
Might not be suited to means being a black actor cast as an elf. I don't think you're suited to that role. Dude, tell that to that guy's fucking face.
Used as both weapons and shields by giant studios in a never-ending war against their own fans, and along the way, they're probably going to get exposed to a lot of abuse that they don't deserve. I guess what I'm trying to say with all...
Dude, this is literally like what Trump does, where he's like, if I get indicted... God, my Trump impression is bad. It's like, if I get indicted, there'll be bad news. Big, big trouble coming to the country. We'll have trouble like we've never had trouble before. He's like, if you are cast as a black actor as an elf, you're gonna have big, big harassment like you've never seen before, and it's probably gonna be coming for you. You're gonna deserve it if you take roles that you're not suited to. It's like, holy shit, dude, you're just being like, actually threateningly racist right now. You're just like, what are you doing? Threatening some kind of lynching? Jesus.
All of this is that the best way you can
make sure you stay in your lane. Black actors for black roles.
Generate hype for your movie or TV show is to just focus on making the best content that you possibly can.
What world are you living in? When do you think a movie isn't affected by like politics and is just like, we're pure artists. We have to make the best movie we possibly can make. We only hire the best actors. We only get the best costume designers and the best script writers, the best director, the purest artistic talent. It's like, dude, you're a fucking movie critic and you're clearly embroiled in politics on Twitter or whatever fucking social media it's clearly Twitter. He started the video by talking about Twitter. Holy shit, dude, this is such a fucking boomeristic reactionary attitude.
The best story with the best writing and performances that...
Well, he's actually doing it by joke. The best story with the best writers and the best performances. Dude, what world are you living in? Like, anyone who thinks a meritocracy is a real thing is a fucking crackpot.
Everyone involved can deliver. There's plenty of options for working in actors of different genders or ethnic backgrounds.
Yeah, maybe by casting them in The Rings of Power, the Lord of the Rings reboot.
Even in a place like Middle-earth, but simply dropping them randomly into cultures and locations that make no sense and offering no explanation beyond, we have to reflect the world we live in today.
They never even said that as an explanation. Also, are you asking for explanations for why there are white characters? Like, do you want to go back in their genealogy the entire time? This is kind of ridiculous, don't you think?
Isn't the way to do it. And lastly, trying to dismiss any and all
So he's like, I'm okay with black characters showing up. I just need you to tell me why they're there. It's like, dude, that's kind of a high bar for having a black character or a woman with a sword.
criticism, regardless of the context or intent behind it, as hateful and toxic bigotry is at best disingenuous and at worst fucking detrimental to...
and at Realist doesn't exist.
The success of your own products. Whether you love them or hate them, the fans are the people ultimately writing your paychecks, and your success is tied to their appreciation of your work. You can fight them, you can ridicule them, you can provoke them, but the one thing...
You're provoking your fans by getting black characters. Guys, write this down. If you want to make a movie, your paycheck ultimately comes from your fans. You're provoking them. Don't get black characters. Don't get black characters. Like, also, can we just talk about how, like, fucking bullshit his hedging on his racism is? He's like, I'm okay with black characters as long as they offer a reason for why they're there. Other than we need to reflect the society that we're living in today. He obviously hasn't seen The Rings of Power. So all that he's seen are actors doing interviews about them being black in Lord of the Rings and the pictures of the black characters in Lord of the Rings. He's called that Harfoot guy a hobbit. So he obviously hasn't seen it. So he has no fucking idea whether they've offered an explanation for why those characters are black or not, right? Like, he doesn't know. He just sees them, automatically is against them because they are black, and not in my Lord of the Rings. We don't have black people. So yeah, this is fucking bullshit. Like, he's like, oh, well, it'd be okay if they offered an explanation. Yeah, we know that you just don't like them. You don't have to hedge your fucking bets. No one in your audience is going to be like, well, maybe they offered a biological reason for why there are some black characters and some white characters. Yeah, no one in your audience cares, dude. They're all on your side. It's okay. Just be racist. You don't have to pretend that you're not.
You can't do is ignore them. Anyway, that's all I've got for you.
Alright, I gotta go to that last
ultimately
rant.
The success of your own products. Whether you love them or hate them, the fans are the people ultimately writing your paychecks, and your success is tied to their appreciation of your work. You can fight them, you can ridicule them, you can provoke them, but the one thing you can't do is ignore them.
Not even true, by the way. If we take a look at the top grossing movies of all time. I mean, let's take a look. Avatar. Okay. That is pretty loved. I don't hear a ton of people talking about it now. Avengers Endgame. I didn't like it, I gotta say. And there was a lot of fans that did not like the women's team-up scene. Titanic. Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. No one liked that movie. No one. It was just a repeat of Star Wars Episode 4. Like, it was pretty universally, like, eh. No one appreciated Star Wars Episode 7. Avengers Infinity War. You know, people did like that one. Spider-Man No Way Home. I think people liked it. Jurassic World. Dude, like, I haven't heard a single good thing about Jurassic World. The Lion King, the 2019 version, the one that everyone fucking hated because it was live action. What are the reviews on this shit? Hold on. What are the reviews on it? The Lion King 2019 reviews. The Lion King 2019 IMDb. Let's go into his IMDb. 6.8 out of 10. Is that like respected and appreciated by its fans? A 6.8 out of 10 movie, and it's in the fucking number 8 highest grossing of all time. It's not even true. Like, his last point, you have to respect them, and then he just ends it. Yeah, it's not true. Movie studios shit all over their fans all the time. They don't give a fuck. Like, you don't have to make a good movie. You just need to be Disney, basically. Like, look at this shit, dude. Incredibles 2, number 20. The movie was not good at all. Yeah. People will watch shit, dude. Like, they'll get shit shoveled down your throat. The Lion King 2 was a bad movie. Didn't have any race or gender swapped animals. Anyway, in conclusion, Critical Drinker is racist. He's sexist. Those are the least of his problems. He's also dumb, and he is conspiracy brained. He spends way too much time on Twitter, and he's not even critiquing movies anymore. His main critique of the Rings, well, he clearly hasn't seen the Rings of Power, yet he felt he was capable of making a video on it, and basically was just criticizing them for having black characters, which means that he's part of the problem that he's criticizing media for pointing out. So I bet he'll love me. All right, well, I said I was going to watch his fucking video on Ariel. This one, enough with the remakes. But Jesus Christ, it took me like 2.5 hours to get through 14 minutes of this shit. I'm not going through another 12. So I'm just going to read some of these comments. And then I'm going to call it. I was taken aback when I saw Top Gun Maverick in the theater and saw the special message from Tom Cruise at the beginning. He actually thanked fans for coming out to the theater to support his movie. I can't remember the last time a Hollywood actor actually thanked the public. A lot of Hollywood actors just like to lecture fans these days. I mean, we might as well add black Hollywood actors, right? Because that's the only examples of fans. That's the only examples of actors lecturing fans about. Well, lecturing fans about is like black issues. So I guess black issues. Lecturing them about black issues. Rather than fan baiting, I prefer to refer to it as fantagonism. They aren't trying to bait fans, they're trying to antagonize us. I mean, that's literally what this guy said they're trying to do, so... It's so silly what they've done with the Rings of Power, because they had a perfect way to include actors of color. Okay, so this guy's British, look at how he spells color. In the series, taking the Haradrim population, of which not much is said about in the books, but they are dark-skinned, and build an entire reign made of black people. That would have been perfectly coherent with the original material, no one would have complained, and we would have seen new places of the world of Tolkien, which we don't know much from the movies. Missed opportunity. Now we have a black dwarf with no beard. Ha! At least he called out the no beard part. That's funny. I mean, like, it's a fair criticism to say, oh, let's see more of this culture that's underdeveloped in, like, the actual Lord of the Rings. And since there's not much source material on it anyway, it's not like you can really disappoint people. That's a fair criticism. But just criticizing someone, like, just criticizing the show for having black actors, like, that's not a valid criticism at all. They're not creating anything, they're just destroying everything creative. I mean, that's just not true, also. Okay, nice. And I think we can end it with a quote by C.S. Lewis. C.S. Lewis once said, "In the highest aesthetic circles, one now hears nothing about the artist's duty to us. It is all about our duty to him." Okay, I wonder, like, is this taken out of context of something? It doesn't make sense. In the highest aesthetic circles, one now hears nothing about the artist's duty to us. So he's in the aesthetic circles. It is all about our duty to him. Okay? He owes us nothing. We owe him recognition, even though he has never paid the slightest attention to our tastes, interests, or habits. I mean, they're an artist. Okay, let's just keep reading it to him. If we don't give it to him, our name is mud. In this shop, the customer is always wrong. He said this some 60 or 70 years ago. The man had the modern world pegged perfectly. Okay, so this comment is stupid for a number of reasons. First of all, if he said this 60 or 70 years ago, he was describing the world 60 or 70 years ago. So saying that he was pegging the modern world is stupid because he was obviously describing, if this is like literally just an interview from him and not taken from one of his books, he's just describing the world that he lived in today. So this just shows that whatever phenomena he's describing that this commenter thinks applies to the world today has always been the case. But also, doesn't this go against the Critical Drinker's entire point, where movie studios are trying to twist worlds to match like our own world? He's literally saying like the artist doesn't give a fuck about his audience. And the Critical Drinker's entire point was that movie studios care so much about their audience that they try to... I don't know, it's such an incoherent video. Because in one point, the Critical Drinker was like, movie studios don't give a shit about audiences. They actually try to antagonize them by trying to make them watch their video, like movies. But then he also would flip-flop between videos or like movie companies care so much about their audiences that they try to change like their material to better match the audience's lived experience. So like, which is it? Is it that they don't care about your audience or that they really care? I think he's just mad because they don't care about the racists. Yeah. Anyway, that was fun. If you want to see me shit more on the Critical Drinker or other right-wingers, I mean, honestly, talking about the quartering sounds exhausting, but if you want to see me like talk more about this shit, or like even if I just do a review of the Rings of Power, let me know. Leave a comment. Tell me what you thought. Tell me your experience watching the Critical Drinker. Like, I think he has some good videos, but he just spends way too much time on Twitter. So what do we end up on? Racist, sexist, dumb, Twitter-brained, conspiracy-brained. Yeah, those are good 5 points. I'm the Critical Drinker now. All right, see ya.